Good evening, everybody. It's Nikki Jordan of Got Space, and this is following on days 9, 10, 11, and 12, my second week, or into my second week, of demanding more of myself. So this is an experiment I started the week before and intend to go on for a 10-week total time, in which what would happen if I just started every day demanding more of myself for a better life for myself, for a better life for the world, who knows what. Things that I wasn't doing that I knew I wanted to do. And sometimes the little safety nets that we have created as our life, the way that we live it, are in fact our sticking points. And this week has been very strange on the West Coast, very unfortunate, very eerie for many people, and scary, and there's lots of loss of life and homes and all of that. Things are being uprooted, right? And when we look at the energy of change and then look at the energy of change being delivered as an uprooting of the way that we have been, that you can really start to use that energy for yourself, okay? So when there is no safety net anymore, when a lot of people move to fear of, oh my God, this is the end, or whatever, you hear it on the street, or they're just being afraid, right? But what if we took this moment as everything, hey there, Gala, everything is changing, to say, what would it take to create a new future? And you realize that it means that everything you considered the way life was, or your way of life, or how your culture is set out, may not be anymore, right? And people want to hold on. They want to hold on. They want to hold on to the way things were. But so much is known by many people on many levels, including yourself, that when you gave up a certain way of being, you could create more out of your life. There are certain things that tether us. There are cobwebs that we get stuck in, as I mentioned in my last video. And so I said, well, what if, when our sky was orange and it looked like we were on Mars, and we were seeing air quality indexes that we'd never seen before. Even last year was something that was slightly over 200. We were over 300. and in parts per million, if you don't know what that means, the toxins in the air from the fires. And what if all of this was a moment in which we could say, what if things were really different than we knew? And there's always the side, what if it took this for us to see what was coming that we never even planned for? And we might not be right now, but certainly public planners are thinking of that. So this moment allows us to demand more of ourselves, but we don't have to do it with thought. We can do it with energy. And so it's like there's a letting go of everything that was, what you cared about, maybe even if you stayed in the relationship you were in, anything. Like, what if everything disappeared? What would you do next? And if you think about people who have lost everything from the fires, right? They're uprooted. They must go somewhere. They must start anew. Life will be different. Now, they could just move down the street, right? But even if you buy a new house, your life is different because the house is different and the way you live is different. And so when we are stubborn, when we say we want change, but we don't really do anything about it, or we say we don't like something, right? And we don't, or somebody, or whatever it is that we don't want in our life anymore, or our job or whatever, but we don't really do something about it, what if it was done for us? Then we know that we would have to make a change. Just like when my brother died, I was gonna have to live with, okay, now they'll never know this person, and I raised him, so that's really shocking. But things that shock your world jostle up your molecules, and when those molecules, when your sense of being, all your thoughts get jostled up, they can't solidify into a thought pattern. They can come down like something new. And so in following the freedom of what could feel like change that was horrible for many people, I started doing things that I didn't realize I was going to be doing again. I don't know if some of you who know me knew that I was a linguist. I studied many languages. I started French when I was 3. Then I lived there, and then I lived in Germany without knowing the language and learned it there. And then I later learned Hindi and Italian and a few other things, Spanish, of course, all around me. And I ended up having to accidentally start taking a French class. And I'm like, wow, I want to know this again. What was that part of my life that I love so much that I left that has no relevance? Then I thought, oh, great. What if this is the future coming back? My talents are coming for the future that I don't even know is right. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. So is there something that you can demand more of that you do, and you don't know why you're demanding it per se? Right? But if you do it, or if you be it, or if you stop thinking that way, whatever it is that you're demanding of yourself, or just that you get outside and see, or you get off your phone, or whatever it is. I had one of those days where that's what I should have done, but there was nothing to do, and I don't know why I was doing that. It's a terrible addiction. So what if you just demanded something different for yourself and just decided, okay, yes, I remember I used to like to draw, or I remember I used to love to cook. I cooked a meal with my husband today. We used to cook all the time. I mean, we cooked this whole Thai curry from scratch. It was really from scratch. Mortar, pestle, everything. We used to do all this kind of stuff. And it felt like a piece of yourself that you covered over, like maybe the dirt from all the years just piled on, like you think of in archaeology or something like that. You're unearthing something, and sometimes when you unearth something about yourself, you ignite another thing that maybe was dormant. So how many dormant ways of living that maybe have never even showed up in your life might now, simply from the feeling that what we have called, if you're on the West Coast, for example, or anywhere that's getting lots of hurricanes, or where you're afraid of tornadoes, or whatever it is, that if this is normal and it could get even worse, what would I do if this is all I had to live for right now? Or if I had like a few more years and that was it? Or if the entire socioeconomic structure, or the way cultures were run, or governments were run, or anything like that, if it changed because we're facing things that we never faced before, and we're going to have to make choices because of those, because we don't get to control this, right? It's showing us how much power it has. What if by making new choices, we free up something that is catalyst for the future that we've never seen? And so making a demand for myself to do new things and follow the energy and say, okay, this is weird. I'm taking someone's French class and now I'm still in it, and I might be taking it for a while. It's like, why would I be doing this? Well, because we already paid for it. I'm like, what if this changed my future? If it changed the way my life would become, because I just took a gander that this would be fun. And demanding more of myself too has really involved, you watch a thought pattern that you just couldn't stand, and you're going, I don't like that anymore. And you slowly, the more you say that, the more you start to change into something that is lighter and more ease that you always wanted to be. So if everybody in the world demanded more of themselves, and I don't care if it means cleaning up your room, it can be the smallest thing. It could be putting the teaspoons in a straight line. I don't care what it is. The smallest things that you change your vibration, change your thought patterns, and change the world. And right now, for those of us, we got the pandemic, then we got the fires. We're going to get tapped out here in a minute. But I felt this space that was very different. Now, of course, I wasn't on the front line of a fire, but I felt this space changing because things are uprooting. Things that we could rely on before are uprooting. So what if we can't rely on anything? What could we create? What could we create if we couldn't rely on anything that we thought was a security before? Okay, so that's what I've been toying with for the last 4 days. I wonder if you've done any of this and what you think. And in the moment you feel fear taking you down, what if you replace that with, what can I do with this right now? What can I do with it? All right, I hope this helped you. Don't know, but let me know if it does. And I'll see you in another bunch of days. Take care. Bye. It doesn't want to stop.